Hello everyone, I'm back. Sorry if I will sound weird in this video, but I have a sore throat. Today we are going to check out the Dark Eldar, or the Drukhari. One of the edgiest factions in 40k. But don't be afraid, just embrace your inner edgelord. And let's check out why would you like to play Dark Eldars. Because you like to go fast and like to hit hard. They have a really great speed and an enormous damage output. But you have only one type of defense, mostly killing your enemy. Dark Eldars are those kind of Eldars that survived the birth of Slaanesh, because they went to the Webway, to Komorrah. From here, they launch out their raids to collect slaves, hunt citizens, and things like that. They have almost an eternal life, but for that, they have to replenish themselves, with other sentient races suffering. Well, just like you do with a coffee or a Monster energy drink. At least I do. Other than that, they are the closest thing that you have to a ninja pirate, slave lord, gladiator, so they have a lot of cool aspects. Maybe the slave lord is not as cool, but they have that aspect too. Usually Dark Eldars have three separate gangs or societies that live together. One of them is the Covens, with the Homunculi Masters, the other one is the Cults, with the Witch Cults, and the last one, Cabals. A quick word on each of these. Homunculus Covens, mostly led by homunculuses, who make horrible things from the slaves, or part of the slaves. They are kind of mad doctors, and these kind of Covens are usually the toughest units of the Dark Eldars. Although they don't have much shooting, their damage is mostly in melee, except a few good shots. Other than this, the Witch Cults. The members of this are some kind of gladiators. They are really fast, agile, and good in melee, with some pistol shots. They don't have much survivability normally, but when you get in melee, you get a great boost on your survivability. And the last one, the Cabals. Well, these are your average crime lords, mostly with a lot of cool vehicles, a lot of shooting options, and with a really terrifying lord. And this is the one that we will check out deeper, because this box set mostly contains unit for this one. But now, how do they play on the tabletop? Let's check out their basic rules. The first one is called Power from Pain. This is an interesting ability. First of all, it only works if your army has Drukhari or unaligned units. If this criteria is met, then you will gain an additional effect at the start of each turn. At the first turn, you get Inured Suffering, which means every one of your models has a 6+ invulnerable save, which is really great because your armor save is really bad. On the second turn, you get the ability Eager to Flay. When you have this ability, you are able to charge even after running. So a great speed buff. At the third turn, Flensing Fury. This one is a long rule, but basically it means you can add one to your melee attack hit rolls. So most of your units will hit on 2+ in melee, which is amazing. And if the unit has the monster or vehicle keyword, then you can fire heavy weapons in melee without having the penalty, which is also a great buff. On the fourth turn, Mantle of Agony. Your invulnerable save changes to a 5+. And the fifth turn, Emboldened by the Bloodshed, you automatically passes the morale test, and every unit that has a determining profile considered as having double the wounds. For example, your Raider has 11 wounds, and if it suffers 6 wounds, it will be slower and hitting worse. But in the fifth turn, consider that having double the wounds, so instead of 5, it considered that having 10 wounds to this profile. So basically, it becomes faster and shooting better again. However, only for these, so if it's taking 5 damage, it dies. Okay, the next ability, called Poisoned Weapons. Many of the Drukhari units has this kind of weapons. It's basically a normal weapon, so if you have a ballistic skill 3, it's hitting on a 3+. But the interesting thing, that it has a strange damaging mechanic. Because it is poison weapon 4+, then it wounds the enemy on a 4+, inconsiderate to the toughness. Only thing that is considered, that the target is either a vehicle or a titanic unit. In this case, you can only wound them on a roll of 6. Other than this, usually there are 2 types of poison weapons. Poison weapon 4+, or poison weapon 2+. So it's either wounding on a 4+, or it's either wounding on a 2+, unless the target is a vehicle or a titanic unit. This mechanic is really interesting, because if you are shooting at a Necron warrior, an Imperial Guardsman, or even a toughness 5 orc, you will wound on a 4+. And if you are shooting at a big Tyrannid monster, or a Setan Gotchard of the Necrons, you will wound on a 4+, or a 2+, which can be amazing. But consider this. This type of weapons worth more if you are fighting against tougher opponents, with less vehicles. A lot of small models, while this one is still okay, but probably somewhat less effective. So this ability can be either amazing or meh. The next one, Blade Artists. If you are fighting in melee and you make a wound roll of 6, you improve the armor penetration of that attack by 1. It can be really devastating. The next one is for the Homunculi Coven. Basically, each of your Homunculi Coven units that has an insensible to pain, so mostly those scary creation things, have a 5+ feel no pain. When they take a damage, you roll a d6 and on a 5+, that wound is not lost. Nice. And one for the Witch Cults. For each unit, you can choose a combat drug, or if you choose a random combat drug, then you roll 2 dice and pick the combat drugs on their results. If you roll the same, you roll both dices, until you have 2 separate effects. Some more interesting rules. Raiding forces. Basically, you can take patrol detachments without paying command points, but in the detachment, all units have to have from the same Cabal, from the same Witch Cult, or from the same Homunculi Coven. Their other rule, weakling kin. You cannot include Drukhari and non-Drukhari Eldar units in the same detachment unless they have the Inari keyword. So unless they are in the service of the Deathguard of the Eldars. And the last one, Real Space Raid. Real Space Raid only happens when you have a detachment called Real Space Raid, and it has 1 Archon, 1 Succubus, and 1 Homunculus. In this case, a lot of things happens, but the most important things that you can purchase new abilities to these 3 heroes or HQ options, and you can upgrade 3 basic units, 1 Cabalite Warriors, 1 Witches, and 1 Rex unit. Other than this, the Archon becomes the so-called leader, and he gives out reroll hit rolls, not just for the Cabalite units, but also for the Witches, Rex, so everyone basically that is core. But since from this box set you can't make a real space raid, we are not going to check on this one. As I mentioned, there are Cabals, there are Cults, and there are Covens. For the Homunculi, the Witches, and the Cabalites. These are almost the same as in case of everyone. They give you some abilities, they give you a Warlord trait, they give you a relic, and 1 stratagem. These are really great. I would recommend you to check out these, but for the first time when you are playing, I would recommend you to either choose between the Cabal of the Black Heart, because it makes your life easier and it's also really great, or with the Obsidian Rose. But to be honest, when I check these, I just realize all of the Cabals are really great, depending on your playstyle. Okay, but for now, let's check out this box set. Combat Patrol, Drukhari. Price, $160, or €125, or £95. Value inside the kit, €204, or even more. You can get out a little bit more value from this kit if you get the guys or girls who are hanging at the side of the big vehicles and you get the drivers and give them weapons. Because with that, you can have 1 additional small unit of Cabalite Warriors, which is nice. Also, the vehicle will be much easier to transport. At the Raider, I will tell you an additional information why you shouldn't put on the driver. Points value. Normally, if you are build this one as intended, it will cost around 475 points, although it can go up to 540 points, depending on what you build and what upgrades do you purchase. For starters, let's check out our HQ option first. Archon. It is 1 model for 70 points. It is a really great unit. He can buff friendly Cabal core or Incubi units, which is almost everything in this box set. They can reroll the hit rolls of 1 if they are near to the Archon, while the Archon can do a lot of damage. He is not that great against tough opponents. To solve this problem, I would recommend you to use the Blast Pistol, which is a shorter range pistol, however it is really strong. It has a range 6, 1 shot, hitting on a 2+, it has a strength of 8, 4 points of armor penetration, and damage D6. So damage between 1 and 6. Your other option is the Splinter Pistol, which has a range of 12, 1 shot, strength 2, 0 points of armor penetration, and damage 1. However, this one is a poisoned weapon, so it will wound on a 4+, unless you are shooting at a vehicle or a Titanic unit. You have to choose one of the pistols. So I would say we have a clear winner with the Blast Pistol. Other than this, you are able to choose between 4 different melee weapons. The first one, called Agonizer. This is the whip thing. With this one, he attacks 5 times, hitting on 2+, with the strength of 3, 3 points of armor penetration, and damage 1. But this one is also a poisoned weapon, so it is wounding on a 4+. While it's not bad, it's not that great either. Your other option is called the Husk Blade. With this one, it also attacks 5 times, with the strength of 3, 2 points of armor penetration, and damage 2. Your other option, called Power Sword. With this one, it makes 5 attacks at the strength of 4, 3 points of armor penetration, and damage 1. And the last one, called the Venom Blade. It is the same, 5 attacks, hitting on 2+, with the strength of 3, 1 points of armor penetration, and damage 1. And this one also is a poisoned weapon. However, this one is a poison 2, so wounding on a 2+. If you don't want to upgrade your weapons to relics or things like that, I think this one is the best right now. If you want to upgrade, if you want to give him a relic, I would recommend you to take the Husk Blade, and then you can give him the Jin Blade, which makes him an okay melee fighter. Other than this, he also have the abilities from the Blade Artists and from the Power from Pain. This unit is not that tanky, with the 3 points of toughness and the 4+ armor save. However, he has an amazing ability, or it can be completely trash. depending on your luck. It's called Shadow Field. This unit has a 2+ invulnerable save. Yes, you heard it right, a 2+. However, it has an interesting addition. You cannot reroll saving throws to this one. And after the first time you failed the invulnerable saving throw, the Shadow Field is gone until the end of the battle, so you lost your 2+ invulnerable save. And you will have the basic invulnerable save from the Power from Pain. So either a 6+ or a 4+, depending on where you are at the game. There were games when this 2+ invulnerable save held up for whole game, and the Archon fought 3 turns in melee. So it was great, but there was some times when it just failed in the first turn. So it's usually great, but sometimes it can fail you. However, there is a cool trick, thanks to the rules. Each time when you are taking a saving throw, you can choose what kind of saving throw you are throwing. So you can either use his 4+ armor save, or 3+ in cover, or use his normal invulnerable save, the 5+ or the 6+, and you can use the 2+. And you can choose it before throwing each saving throw. So usually I would recommend you to use the 2+ saving throws against multi-wound attacks, like a 3 damage Thunder Hammer swing, or things like that, and when you are taking a lot of 0 points of armor penetration damage 1 attacks, use the 4+ saving throw until he has only just 1 wound left. Then you can use the 2+. But it's all depending on how you feel about this one. That's it about this unit. This one is really great in my opinion. Okay, let's check out the Cabalite Warriors next. In this box set, you get 10 of these. You can build either one 10-man squad or two 5-man squad. One model, 8 points. So for this whole 10-man squad, you will pay 80 points plus upgrades. Usually, I would recommend you to build two 5-man squad. Okay, but let's check out what they can do. They are your basic troops. They can dish out a lot of damage, but they can't take punishment very well. Which is interesting because usually Darkar does like the pain, but not when they take it. Every model in this unit is equipped with a splinter rifle. The unit's leader, called a Symborite, can replace its splinter rifle with a pistol, which is either the blast pistol or the splinter pistol. They are the same as in case of the Archon, only difference that they are hit on a 3+. Also, you are able to pick up a melee weapon. As for melee weapons, he can choose between the Agonizer and the Power Sword. They're exactly the same as in case of the Archon. The only difference that he attacks 3 times and hitting on 3+. Other than this, for 5 points, you can buy an additional upgrade, Phantasm Grenade Launcher, which has a range of 18. It is Assault D3, so shots between 1 and 3. It has the Blast keyword, so it's better against at least 6 or more models, and it has an interesting damaging mechanic. If you hit with this weapon, you roll 2d6, and if it's more than the highest leadership characteristic in the unit, that unit suffers 1 mortal wound. Normally, it's not that great against high leadership units. However, you can combo it with the Raider. I will tell about it at the Raider. Disclaimer, the blast pistol and the melee weapons costs 5 points each. Usually I wouldn't recommend you to change the splinter rifle to any of these. Okay, let's talk about the other guys, the Cabalite Warriors. For every 5 men, you can pick up 1 special weapon. Or, for every 10 men, you can pick up 1 heavy weapon. This one is a little bit interesting, because if you have a 10-man squad, you can have 2 special weapons and 1 heavy weapon. Okay, but let's check out these weapon options. One of them called Blaster. If you are running a 5-man squad, this is my go-to weapon. It has a range of 18, Assault 1, so you can shoot it even after running, but then you have to subtract 1 from its hit rolls. It has a strength of 8, 4 points of armor penetration, and damage D6. So damage between 1 and 6. Okay, and let's check out the other special weapon. Again, this is something that you can take with a 5-man squad, called Shredder, for 5 points. It also have a range of 18. This one is Assault D6, so shots between 1 and 6. But this one also has the Blast keyword, so it gets significantly better when you are shooting at a large blob of enemies. It has a Strength 6, 1 points of armor penetration, and damage 1. This is not bad, however I prefer the Blaster, because all your splinter rifles can take care of infantry, and Strength 6 is not that good against vehicles. So when you are picking up a special weapon, usually it should be something like an anti-tank weaponry. The most basic weapon that they have, the splinter rifle. Every model in this unit is start with this basic weapon, so this is the one that we should have checked out first. It has a range of 24, rapid fire 1, so if you are within 12 inches, you are shooting twice. It has a strength of 2, 0 points of armor penetration, and damage 1. However, this weapon is poisoned. Poisoned 4+. Okay, and now let's check out the heavy weapons. For heavy weapons, there is my go-to, Dark Lance, for 15 points. It has a range of 36, heavy 1, so 1 shot. This 1 shot has a strength of 8, 4 points of armor penetration, and damage D3 plus 3, so damage between 4 and 6. This one is more expensive and you have to have a 10-man squad. However, its damage much more reliable than the blasters. And the last heavy weapon option, Splinter Cannon, for 10 points. This has a range of 36, heavy 3, so 3 shots, strength 3, 1 points of armor penetration, and damage 2. However, this weapon is also poison 4, so wounding on a 4+. I mean, it's not bad, but if you want this weapon, you should take Venoms probably, the smaller but faster kind of transports, because this one is integrated into their hull. Okay, this unit has 2 abilities, Blade Artists and Power from Pain. Power from Pain is really good for them, but I don't think you're gonna have much use from Blade Artists, because this unit is originally a shooting unit, and when they are in melee, well, usually they don't live long in melee. Let's stay in that. However, if we are at melee, I think we should check out the Incubi, or the Incubi. Probably these are the best models that GW released currently, that are not heroes. However, their leader, that is not in the box set, is Drukhari. That one is my favorite model currently. Okay, about the Incubi, you get 5 models in this unit. This is a 5-man squad. It contains 4 Incubi and 1 Clavex. They are amazing in melee. However, they are not going to survive, so you have to be sure that you hit first. And usually, what they hit is not going to survive to hit back. Okay, let's check out what they can do. 5 models for 90 points. First of all, let's check out their abilities, because that's going to be important when checking out their weapons. They have the Blade Artist's ability and the Power from Pain. They also have one called Lethal Precision. If the unit contains their leader, the Clavex or the Clavex, each time when an unmodified wound roll of 6 happens, you can add 1 to the damage characteristic. This is really awesome, because when an unmodified wound roll of 6 happens, you add 1 to the damage. But because of the Blade Artist, you add 1 to their armor penetration. But they have another great ability, called Tormentors. At the start of the fight phase, when they are within engagement range of an enemy, you can roll 2d6, and if the result is greater than the enemy's leadership characteristic, they can't fight until all eligible units fought, so they apply a fight last. Again, this one is good on its own, but it can be a really great combination with either a Venom or with even a Raider. We have a Raider, so I will tell you about it there. But the main thing is that they can apply a fight last to the enemy, if you roll well. Okay, let's check out their weapons. Every model in this unit is equipped with a Clave. With a Clave, usually they attack 3 times. Their leader attacks 4 times, hitting on 2 pluses with the strength of 5, 3 points of armor penetration, and damage 2, which is a whopping 16 attack from just this 5-man, which can easily kill around 6 to 10 marines. But their leader can be equipped with 1 Demi-Claves. It has a profile of a single blade, which is exactly the same as the Clave. But in this case, they also have another profile, called Dual Blades. With this one, the leader makes 2 additional attack, so makes 6 attack, hitting on 2 pluses. But in this case, it is only strength 4 and 2 points of armor penetration, but the damage 2 stays. So if you are fighting against less tough opponents, where usually each hit kills, then in this case Dual Blades can be better. Note that, however, Incubi is not Cabals or Cabalite units. Archon still gives them the reroll ones to hit. So they are deadly, but they are even deadlier when there is an Archon nearby. Okay, and let's check out the last 2 big units. Raider. On the note, you can build the Ravager as Raider if you want to. The difference is that if you want to build a Ravager, you still build a Raider, but you add 2 other turrets from the upgrade sprue. What do we have to know about the Raider? It's 1 model for 95 points. Plus upgrades. Basically, the Raider is a transport vehicle with a turret. This one is really fast, however not that tough. You are able to choose between 2 different cannons, you can add 1 grenade launcher if you want to, and it has an okay-ish melee profile. Let's check out what it can do in its basic form, and after that we will check out the upgrades. First one, Dark Lance, for 10 points. It has a range of 36, heavy 1, so 1 shot. This 1 shot has a strength of 8, 4 points of armor penetration, and damage D3 plus 3. But it also has a different type of gun, Disintegrator Cannon, for 5 points. Range of 36, heavy 3, so 3 shots, with a strength of 5, 3 points of armor penetration, and damage 2. So basically, this one is an anti-elite or anti-infantry weapon, while the Dark Lance is an anti-tank weapon. For 5 points, you can also purchase the Phantasm Grenade Launcher, which is still the same as in case of the Cabalite Warriors. Other than this, it has a weapon called Blade Veins. When you are in melee, you make attacks between 3 and 1, depending on how many wounds does the Raider have. With this one, you're hitting on 4 pluses, with the strength of 7, 1 points of armor penetration, and damage 1. Okay, we went through its weapons. Now let's check out its abilities. Blade Artists and Power from Pain. Other than this, it has a Night Shield, which is a 5+ invulnerable save against range attacks. So it's some kind of a protection. hovering, which means when you are measuring the distance from this model, you measure from its hull, not from its base. Also, this one is capable to explode, so when this model dies, before any model is disembarked, you roll a d6, and on a 6, it explodes, and every unit within 6 suffers d3 mortal wounds. Okay, basic vehicle stuff. But the good thing is, this one is open-topped, so the units that are embarked inside can shoot out in the shooting phase as they were in the board, but their shooting distance is measured from the hull of this vehicle. If the vehicle is moved, advanced, the units that are embarked inside considered as they have do the same. And when this model is in engagement range, the embarked units can only shoot their pistols, as if they were in fight also, but they can be attacked. This model is able to transport 11 Drukhari infantry, which is really great because you can put in 2 5-man squad or 1 10-man squad and the hero. However, later, if you have grotesques, or scourges, or even skyboard models, well, the rules will change a little bit in their cases. Okay, now let's check out the upgrade options. For 5 points, change snares. This one is really simple. You can add 3 to the attack characteristic of this model. The other one, Grizzly Trophies, for 5 points. With this one, the vehicle will have a 3-inch aura, and when the enemy units are within this aura, you have to subtract 2 from their leadership characteristic. This one is really great, because if you have these, then your Incubi can make them fight less much easier, and your Phantasm Grenade Launcher will deal damage, same, much easier. So this one is really good, and you can help out your army really greatly if you are parked closely to a fight, or even you charge into a fight. Your other option, Shock Prow, for 5 points. The bearer has the Shock Prow ability. Basically, you will have access to a stratagem, and when you charge this model and use the stratagem, it will work like a battering ram. Deal mortal wounds to enemies, mostly good against vehicles or big units, if you make a long bomb charge. Against vehicles, it's good in every case. And the last special upgrade, Splinter Axe, for 10 points. Basically, the embarked units are rapid firing all the time. This unit is also really great. And the last one, called Ravager. One model for 130 points. This model is almost exactly the same as the Raider. However, it has 1 more wound, it has 2 more guns, and it can transport anyone. This model works as a really mobile weapon platform. In normal cases, this model is equipped with 3 Dark Lances and Blade Veins. The interesting thing that the Dark Lance is 10 points on a Raider. However, if you have a Ravager, the Dark Lance is free, but the Disintegrator Cannon costs 5 points. So usually I would recommend you to take this one with 3 Dark Lances. You will only have 3 shots, but those 3 shots will mean something. Usually in a normal turn, you can just one-shot a lighter vehicle, or anything that is not a really heavy vehicle. The weapon profiles are the same, and it also has Blade Veins. About the upgrades, you are able to buy the Chain Snares, the Grizzly Trophies, and the Shock Prows, but I wouldn't recommend, because this model is mainly a shooting platform, and you can use it that way, but also this is the one thing that your enemy want to shoot down first, so I wouldn't spend much on upgrades. It also has the Blade Artists, the Power from Pain abilities, it also has the Night Shield, so a 5+ invulnerable save, which can help you a lot. This model is also hovering, and it also explodes the same way as the Raider, so it's the same, but trading the transport capabilities for more weapons. This unit also has my stamp of approval. Overall score. Well, it's hard to say, but I think this box set is the only box set that goes with a 10 out of 10. Everything that is inside this box set is really great, and if you want to play Drukharis, you're gonna want that. This box set is automatically a multi-buy. 2 or even 3 of this box set can be really great. Maybe the Archon will become redundant after the first 2, but you can trade one with someone or you can just sell it. But the Raiders, the Ravagers, the Incubi, the Cabalite Warriors are all of your top tier units. Probably you won't build more than 2 Ravagers, but you can build as many Raiders as you want. And even 3 Ravagers is still great. About the Incubi, well, you will probably use that 3 unit of 5 men, or you can even make 10-man squads, but the 5 3-man squad is really great. If you want to upgrade them, or even make them more dangerous, you can probably buy Drazar next to them, or buy a few Venoms. It is a little bit smaller, but faster transport than the Raider. Easier to hide, and all in all, it is really great but a different kind of beast. If you want to play Drukhari, this box set is amazing. And one thing that I forgot to mention, when you are building the Raider, if I were you, I wouldn't put in the driver guy, because then, at the end, you will have a small place. And it is enough to put one guy there. So you will be able to see easier who is inside of which Raider or even Venom that you have later on. Thank you for watching and listening, and I hope I see you in the next one. Bye!